You have no proof this house is yours, Amanda shouted as she threw another box of my things onto the lawn. My brother let you live here, but without a marriage certificate, you're nothing. I stood in the doorway, watching her toss up 12 years of my life. My hands shook, but I kept my voice calm. You're wrong, Amanda. I have proof. She spun around, her expensive purse swinging. Oh really? Then show me. Where are the papers? She laughed. That's what I thought. Nothing. Just like your so-called marriage, nothing legal, nothing real. My name is Olivia, and 3 months ago, I thought my life was perfect. Then my husband, Marcus, disappeared with his pregnant girlfriend. He left only a text. No marriage registration means no divorce. You keep your job, I keep everything else. But Marcus had no idea what this house really held. Amanda walked around like she already owned the place, her heels clicking on the hardwood floors. I'm actually doing you a favor. Marcus wants his girlfriend to move in next week. You should leave while you still have some dignity. I glanced at the old clock in the corner. My grandfather had built this house himself, and before he died, he had told me something odd. Never move that clock. It holds more than just time. I stepped toward it. Actually, there's something you should see. Amanda sighed. Another worthless old thing. Give it up, Olivia. This house belongs to Marcus now. I ran my fingers along the clock's frame. My grandfather had a habit of hiding important things in strange places. Amanda frowned. What are you talking about? I opened the glass door and reached inside. Feeling for a small hidden latch, I pressed it. Click. A secret compartment popped open. Amanda's face turned pale as I pulled out a yellowed envelope. What's that? I smiled. The original deed to the house, dated 1962. Along with my grandfather's will, he left everything to me, his only grandchild. All legally notarized and filed with the county. Amanda lunged for the papers, but I stepped back. Careful. These are legal documents. She stammered. You're lying. Marcus said the house was in his name. I shook my head. Marcus lied. He never owned this house. My grandfather never trusted him, seems he was right. Amanda's confidence crumbled. This is ridiculous. I'm calling the police. I pulled out my phone. Good idea. My lawyer would love to explain how trying to kick the legal owner out of their own home is a crime. Silence. Outside, the wind scattered the papers Amanda had thrown out. Her hands clenched and unclenched. You knew, she whispered. You knew all along and let me. Make a fool of yourself. I finished. Yes. Consider it a lesson in humility. Now, why don't you start bringing my boxes back inside? Amanda's mouth opened and closed, but she had no comeback. Finally, she grabbed her purse. This isn't over. Actually, it is, I said, holding up the documents. And when you tell Marcus, remind him my grandfather's lawyer has copies of everything. I bet he'll love knowing he's been living in my house all these years. Amanda stormed off and sped away in her car. I turned to the clock, finally understanding my grandfather's wisdom. He had protected me even beyond his lifetime. I carefully placed the papers back inside the hidden compartment. Time reveals all truths, he had said. The battle wasn't over. Marcus would be back, probably with lawyers. But for the first time since he left, I felt strong. This house was mine, and I wasn't going anywhere. 2 days after Amanda's dramatic exit, I was sorting through old photos in the living room when my phone buzzed. Marcus's name flashed across the screen, accompanied by a text that made my blood boil. Amanda told me about your little stunt with the clock. Nice try, but fake papers won't hold up in court. Lisa and I will be moving in next week. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I glanced at the clock, its steady ticking a reminder of everything still hidden inside. Poor Marcus, always so confident, always so wrong. Before I could respond, another text came through. My lawyer will contact you. Be smart about this, Olivia. I smiled, remembering the other envelopes still tucked away in the clock's secret compartment. Grandfather hadn't just left me property deeds, he'd left me insurance. The doorbell rang, and through the window, I saw Marcus strutting up the walkway, Lisa trailing behind him. She couldn't have been more than 25, her baby bump visible under her tight dress. My heart twisted, but not from jealousy. They had no idea what was coming. Olivia, Marcus said as I opened the door, trying to sound authoritative. We need to talk. I leaned against the doorframe, blocking their entry. About what? How you abandoned our 12-year relationship with a text message, or about how you sent your sister to do your dirty work? Lisa stepped forward, her hand protectively over her stomach. Look, we don't want any drama. Just accept that it's over and leave. That's right, Marcus added, pulling out some papers. My lawyer drew these up. Sign them, and we'll let you take your personal belongings. I took the papers, pretending to read them. Let me? That's interesting, considering this is my house. Marcus laughed, but I caught the nervous edge in it. Amanda mentioned you'd found some old papers. They're probably not even real. This house has been in my family's name for years. Has it? I walked to the clock, feeling their eyes follow me. Would you like to know what else my grandfather left in here besides the deed? More fake documents? Marcus scoffed, but he stepped closer, curiosity getting the better of him. I opened the clock's hidden compartment again, this time removing a different envelope. Actually, these are bank statements, from an account you opened 3 years ago. The color drained from Marcus's face. Lisa looked between us, confused. An account, I continued, where you've been transferring company funds. Money that isn't yours to take. My grandfather was a founding board member of that company, remember? He kept tabs on everything, even after retirement. You're bluffing, Marcus whispered, but his hands had started to shake. Am I? I pulled out the statements. Want to explain these transfers to your boss, or should I? I'm sure the board would be very interested in where their money's been going. Lisa stepped back, her expression changing. Marcus, what is she talking about? Nothing, he snapped. She's making things up. Oh, and Lisa, I added, pulling out another paper. You might want to ask him about his other girlfriend in Sacramento. The one he visits on his business trips. My grandfather had friends everywhere, including private investigators. The silence that followed was deafening. Lisa's face had gone from confused to horrified. Other girlfriend? Marcus? What? She's lying, Marcus shouted, but the panic in his voice gave him away. The proof is all here, I said calmly. Every transaction, every hotel receipt, every secret meeting. My grandfather knew you'd show your true colors eventually. He just wanted to make sure I was protected when you did. Lisa backed away toward the door, tears streaming down her face. You told me I was special, that Olivia was the only other woman you'd ever been with. Lisa, wait. Marcus called after her, but she was already running to her car. He turned back to me, fury and fear battling in his expression. You've ruined everything. No, Marcus, you did that all on your own. Now, about those papers you wanted me to sign. I ripped them in half, letting the pieces flutter to the floor. I think we're done here. Unless you'd like me to share these documents with the company board? Marcus stared at me for a long moment, defeat finally registering in his eyes. Without another word, he turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I returned the documents to their hiding place in the clock, my hands trembling slightly. The ticking seemed louder now, like a heartbeat, strong and steady. My phone buzzed again. A text from Lisa. I'm so sorry, I had no idea about any of it. I didn't respond. Her awakening wasn't my responsibility. Instead, I sat in my grandfather's old armchair, looking at the clock that had protected me when I needed it most. Time reveals all truths, I whispered, remembering his words. The old clock had revealed more than just property rights. It had exposed the true nature of the man I'd almost spent my life with. The sun was setting outside, casting long shadows through the windows. Somewhere in a city, Marcus was probably scrambling to cover his tracks, and Lisa was facing her own harsh realities. But here, in this house that had always been mine, I was finally at peace. The clock kept ticking, steady and sure, guarding whatever other secrets my grandfather might have left behind. But those were stories for another day. A month after Marcus's dramatic exit, I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee, watching the morning light filter through the windows. The house felt different now, lighter somehow, as if a heavy shadow had been lifted. My phone lit up with a message from my grandfather's old friend and lawyer, Tom Harrison. Just thought you'd want to know. Marcus resigned from the company yesterday. Seems he's taking a job out of state. Your grandfather would be proud of how you handled everything. I smiled, remembering how Marcus had tried to contact me several times over the past weeks, his messages shifting from threats to desperate pleas. Each time, I'd simply send him photos of the banking documents until finally he understood there was no way out. The doorbell rang, interrupting my thoughts. To my surprise, Amanda stood on my porch, looking very different from the last time I'd seen her. Gone was the designer outfit and superior attitude. Instead, she seemed smaller, almost apologetic. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. I considered closing the door, but something in her expression made me pause. 5 minutes. She followed me into the living room, her eyes immediately going to the clock. "I owe you an apology," she began, twisting her hands nervously. "I was horrible to you, and I believed everything Marcus told me without question." "Yes, you were, and yes, you did," I agreed, watching her carefully. "I didn't know," she continued, "about the money he was stealing or about his other girlfriends. When Lisa told me everything." She trailed off, shaking her head. I felt so stupid. The clock ticked steadily in the background as I considered her words. "Your brother made fools of a lot of people," I said finally. "But you chose to be cruel. That was your decision." "I know," she whispered, "and I'm truly sorry. I always thought you weren't good enough for our family. Now I realize we weren't good enough for you." I let her words hang in the air for a moment, remembering all the small cruelties, the dismissive comments, the ways she tried to make me feel less than. But I also remembered my grandfather's words about forgiveness being a choice we make for ourselves, not others. "Thank you for the apology," I said finally. "I appreciate you coming here to say it in person." Amanda nodded, then reached into her bag. "I found these while helping Marcus pack," she said, pulling out a stack of old photos. "They're of you and your grandfather from when you were little. I thought you might want them." My heart caught as I looked at the familiar images, my grandfather and me working on the house together, planting the garden, him teaching me about the clock. In every photo, his eyes held that special twinkle, as if he knew something the rest of the world didn't. "He was an amazing man," Amanda said softly. "I wish I'd taken the time to know him better." As she left, I placed the photos on the mantel beside the clock. Its steady ticking had become a comfort now, a reminder that time indeed reveals all truths, but it also heals all wounds. Later that evening, as I sat in my grandfather's old chair, I opened the clock one last time. Behind the compartment holding the deeds and bank statements, I found one final envelope I hadn't noticed before. Inside was a letter, written in my grandfather's familiar handwriting. "My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, it means you've discovered what the clock holds and you've needed its protection. I'm sorry you had to face such difficulties, but I'm proud of the strength I know you've shown. Remember, a house is more than just walls and deeds. It's a home for your spirit, a shelter for your dreams. I built this place not just with lumber and nails, but with love and hope for the future, your future. The clock will always keep time for you, marking not just hours and minutes, but moments of courage, growth, and truth. Let its steady ticking remind you that you are stronger than you know, wiser than you believe, and more loved than you can imagine. Take care of our home, my darling girl, and know that I'm always with you in every tick and talk of our faithful timekeeper. All my love, Grandfather." I carefully folded the letter and returned it to its hiding place. Outside, the sun was setting, casting golden light through the windows. The house felt alive with memories, not just of the recent drama, but of all the love and wisdom my grandfather had built into its very foundation. The clock kept its steady rhythm, marking not just the end of one chapter, but the beginning of another. My chapter, in my home, on my terms. Time, as my grandfather always said, reveals all truths. But sometimes, if we're lucky, it also reveals exactly who we were meant to be all along.